Once are here, one whose worth lies far within, a diamond in the rough.
Welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following week. My name is Colton Brown, and joining me is Andrew Meadows.
Colton Brown, I am here live in the flesh on my end, not live in the flesh on your end, but...
Are you... Well, that's a... I mean, I'm live in the flesh on my end.
That's right. I mean... We are live.
There's two different ends. I think what happens is there's two different ends. The ends are not necessarily connected in the flesh, but they are connected digitally. Yeah, well, that's true. That is very true. Let me double check. Yep. I think I'm alive.
Still flesh
as of recording this. So yeah. Well, we're alive, and we're stampeding through the remainder of the May releases. We still got quite a few to get through. Well, I guess not too many, just a couple left on the docket for May. But we're talking Aladdin, Guy Ritchie's Aladdin. It's a long time coming. We've had many a conversation about the marketing for this movie, and well, it arrived in cinemas actually maybe a couple weeks ago now, and we've seen it. We're here to talk about it. We have thoughts on it. We've had thoughts for a while, and well, now everyone gets to listen to them. So that's exciting.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. Yes, we will. We're also going to talk briefly about Game of Thrones. This is going to sound probably pretty familiar if anyone's listened to our last couple regular episodes that we've done. Game of Thrones, the series has ended. It's been over for a while now. We've tried to put it out of our brains and out of our hearts. I mean, there's no way to know how it is, and we'll talk about it or whatever. But we're still playing catch up. We're going to finish our coverage of it, of course. Where we're at with that, which is why I bring this up. We have recorded on season 6, so that's new. That's up on the Patreon as of the release of this episode, and we will be covering seasons 7 and 8 very soon. I think we have to still work our way through season 7, which fortunately it's only 7 episodes, so it shouldn't be too bad logistically and mentally. And so we'll get through that, and then we'll get through season 8. We'll have everything on the record so that it will stand the test of time to see how our enthusiasm slowly wanes over time, or maybe just increases. The hype train just keeps going. There's just no way to know. You'll just have to stay tuned for our thoughts on that, even though you have probably gotten a good sense of what our thoughts might be. And well, there you have it. So Aladdin, Guy Ritchie's Aladdin. Still
and I have
a very weird
fact.
statement to make. Oh,
for you.
Well,
in regards to Guy Ritchie's Aladdin.
By all means, please proceed.
The animated feature film, the OG Aladdin, was the first animated film to ever gross more than $200 million.
$200 million.
That's right. And another fun fact for you, if that's not enough, because a lot of people don't really give a shit about the box office, or maybe they do. I don't know.
They're stupid and things, but that's fine.
But there's a lot of people that do care about it. So that's fun fact number one.
I think the people that care about box office are probably some of the coolest people in the world. If I had to make a bold statement about such people.
In order for them to land Robin Williams for the voice of the genie, they actually created test sequences with the genie performing the comedian stand-up routines, which is pretty cool. I didn't know that until I gave it a quick googs.
Oh, give it a quick googs, huh?
Yeah.
You just didn't know that right off the top of your head? I'm disappointed.
No,
I'm disappointed in you. Actually, of the two of us, this is probably worth mentioning. I'm pretty sure that you have always been more fond of Aladdin, the cartoon, than myself. I mean, I seem to recall you being a pretty big fan of it.
Yeah, I really like the cartoon.
Yeah, and like it's a cartoon that, well, perhaps until recently I hadn't seen in many years. I don't know if you yourself had seen it recently, but it was something I guess was probably a mainstay for you as a kid, kind of a watch it over and over again type thing. Yeah, I had a few of those. I think Hercules was kind of the one for me.
Hercules is pretty great.
I fucking loved that one as a kid. Aladdin I had the VHS of, I know for sure, but I really don't recall watching it all that often.
Had like the Super Nintendo game of Aladdin.
Okay. I'm almost positive I've played that, so I must have, or my brothers must have had it, something like that, so it was a classic. I recall it being a classic anyway. Well, I thought you were going to go in a different direction with the Robin Williams fun fact, because there was, I don't know if you were aware of this. I kind of really wasn't aware of it until pretty recently. I don't have the exact facts in front of me, so I guess it could be a fun fact if I had done some research on my end. But basically, he only, I think, took the role because he was going to go uncredited, because he had like a movie or something coming out, and like there was some sort of thing where like they wouldn't promote it with like his name attached to it, and then Disney was just like, actually, you know what, fuck that, and so they just went all out, put his name all over everything. And so I know there was a lot of bad blood between him and Disney for a while there, although I think he came back to voice the genie for like Aladdin 3, one of like the direct to VHS type things a little bit down the line. So I don't know if they money hatted him even more than probably what they had already done so up to that point, or how exactly that worked. But I know there's a full story there. I'm sure you can Google it, figure it out, and get the real story, not my half-assed bullshit version of it. So there you go. I do have another fun fact of sorts.
Serve it up.
Something that's kind of more relevant to our podcast in general. I'm keeping in spirit with what we did in John Wick in a way, but this is a little bit more self-serving, I suppose. Do you recall an episode that we did way back in the day? If I had to guess, probably August of 2017, about Atomic Blonde and the Dark Tower.
Yeah, I do.
Do you recall doing that?
That was the very first episode, if I'm not
mistaken. That was the very first episode, and on that very first episode, we talked about Guy Ritchie's Aladdin. So I feel like this is kind of like a full circle type thing. Yeah, we talked about the casting of Jafar, and I think we might talk about the casting of Jafar again. What do you think?
I think it's a possibility. Oh, that's crazy.
Interestingly enough, I went back and listened to it because I was like, oh, this could be really interesting to see what we thought. We basically ended up talking about Aladdin and just Guy Ritchie being like, what the fuck is Guy Ritchie doing here? kind of thing for like a minute, and then we talked about Star Wars because of course we talked about Star Wars. So that was our Aladdin coverage for the news for episode 1. If anyone's interested, throwback, good time, use the timestamps. I put them there for a reason. Even if I'm the only one that uses them, fuck it, man. That's why they're there. So yeah, let's talk the news for this episode, episode 96, of the new Aladdin. Let's kick it off with some news on the latest from Christopher Nolan. What do you think about that? Do you think that's a good place to start? I think it's a good place to start.
Christopher Nolan is always a fabulous place to start, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, I think that's true. So we've got some information on his newest project that he's working on. First of all, it's called Tenet, Tenet. Tenet is the name of the film. And mostly we have casting details. Very, very excellent cast that Nolan has assembled. Of course, he's no stranger to putting together exceptional casts. Although I don't know that... Oh, never mind. I was going to make a comment, but I would have immediately retracted it. There are some Nolan mainstays, or at least one Nolan mainstay that will appear in this film. But in terms of what this movie is, it's an original screenplay that Nolan himself wrote. He's filming it with a mix of IMAX and 70mm film because Nolan loves his cameras and shit. It's set to film in 7 countries. It's described as an action epic evolving from the world of international espionage. And let's talk cast. Let's talk cast for it, because I think that's kind of where the big things are happening. So Aaron Taylor-Johnson and Kenneth Branagh, as of just a couple weeks ago, were the newest additions to the cast. Aaron Taylor-Johnson, of course, someone we talked about briefly as being on the shortlist for Batman, and also played Kick-Ass, and he was in the 2014 Godzilla Age of Ultron as Quicksilver. Kenneth Branagh is known for his talents both in front of and behind the camera as well. He's
Mustachio.
He's Gilderoy Lockhart from Harry Potter, and Mustachio from Murder on the Orient Express, which we covered on another episode relatively early in our podcast tenure. But he directed that one, and he appeared in front of the camera as Hercule Poirot. So there's that.
He's the Wizard of the Dark Arts, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like the fraud. He's like the fraud one from Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. John David Washington, I guess, is the lead for this. He was the lead in Black Klansman, which he was fucking excellent in. And other cast members. Other cast members are Clemence Poisi, who was, I think, Fleur Delacour in Harry Potter 4, Goblet of Fire. So another Harry Potter alum.
Dropping all the Harry Potters.
Dimple, that's the only reference point. She's French. I think she's done a lot of French films, stuff that I'm not overly familiar with. Let's put it that way. Dimple Kapadia. Name I do not know. Sounds fake, but it's coming from Variety, so I think it's a real name. And we got a Nolan mainstay in the form of Michael Caine. Okay. And his Tangerine will be taking part in this film. And Elizabeth Debicki, recently in Widows. She was Aisha in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and she's been great in many things. And Robert Pattinson, just setting the world on fire these days.
Damn. All right.
So Robert Pattinson will also be in that. And on the note of Robert Pattinson, he needs to change his agent.
I said Homeboy must have changed his agent.
Must have changed his agent. I was going to say, that's either very dry sarcasm, or I'm not really sure what you're heading for here. Because
he agent whoever he's got putting in some work.
Well, they're putting in work. We can give the man some credit. I think he had to put in some work himself to officially secure the role of the Batman. It is concluded. It's official. Matt Reeves himself, director of the Batman, has come out and confirmed it as well. Apparently, it was up to him and Nicholas Hoult as the last two man standing, and they did screen tests in the bat suit. Hope we get to see that footage at some point, because usually they use like an old Batman suit, so like they probably used like probably not the Batfleck suit because he's like half the size of that suit, but probably like a Nolan suit if I had to guess, to keep the Nolan connection intact there. It's always fun to see stuff like that, like screen tests. For me, I always watch a screen test and then I look at it and I'm like, how the fuck did anyone look at this and think like, oh, this is the guy? Or like I always find screen tests to just be like the most awkward type thing possible, and it's just I casting directors, just film directors and everything, like just to have like the ability to like see it, and that like they look for a very specific thing, then they do this fucking weird ass kind of awkward screen test or like a chemistry test with like a like a co-lead or something like that, and they're like, this is it, this is the thing.
Hold the script over your face, but leave your mouth unexposed and read the lines.
Yeah. Well, or you could replicate the scene from Batman Forever where Batman sits in the courtroom and he covers, or no, it's what's Batman is in the courtroom. He is in the courtroom, and that's important. Batman in full costume.
Suit. Yeah.
And then Harvey Dent is the one that covers his face with some papers. Very perfectly, I might add. Very perfectly right down the middle. It's very good. So I had a kind of 2-for-1 here. I figured the Robert Pattinson connection would be something to work with. And so what do you have? You have any thoughts on Christopher Nolan's newest project, Tenet? Robert Pattinson as the Batman. We talked a lot about our Pats as Batman, as Pattinson. So we've kind of covered our bases for the most part there. So
I think Tenet sounds like it's going to be a Christopher Nolan movie. It's probably going to be another mind warpy thing, which is pretty cool. And Robert Pattinson as Batman, we will see how it goes.
He's got the jawline for it. I'm just going to say it again. I think what happened is Matt Reeves saw both of them in the costume, and he said, one of these looks like Batman because he has the jawline. That's the guy. I'm telling you, it's what happened. Put it on the record. It's what I would have done. It's also why that's not my job. But anyway.
Well, it's important. It's an important thing. But we'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes. That's right. I look forward to both of these projects.
I've got some exciting Star Wars news.
Oh, do you now? What sort of Star Wars news have you for me?
So, Star Wars news for you, sir, is going to be Vanity Fair's behind-the-scenes look of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker.
Rise. Yes. So
Lord of
this was really cool. Kind of came out of nowhere. Had a big cover story from Vanity Fair. Annie Leibovitz did a lot of pretty pictures. Captured a lot of really cool things from the set of The Rise of Skywalker. You want to walk us through some of those cool things?
So I'm looking at the Vanity Fair article here. The first one is we got C-3PO sporting a non-red arm.
Oh, man. I was so used to seeing him with the red arm that I couldn't even recognize him with a regular arm. Huh.
Yep, regular arm spotted there in my my eagle hawkish Star Wars
Didn't they fix his arm in Last Jedi, though? I could be wrong on that.
Maybe they did. I think
they did. Anyway, C-3PO. You get it. You know, good on
Whatever.
Anthony Daniels and such. But
Getting a little polish
what's
job
the good
going
stuff?
on. We scroll down, and it's now the return of the Knights of Ren. They popped up in a...
Sort of return. I mean, probably...
Yeah, they popped up in a little...
Yeah, you know, like a little 2-second flashback where we couldn't see shit.
Yep.
That's true.
But now we see all
here.
the shit. Right.
We see them. Yeah, they're wearing some funky shit. Have some weapons and shit. Looks like one guy in the back has a Final Fantasy VII Buster sword. Little bit condensed, but
we have
good for him.
They were labeled as they're labeled as the elite fearsome enforcers of Kylo Ren's dark will, which sounds pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on down, we get our reveal of Kerry Russell as Zori Bliss, who is in a snow-dusted world of Kajimi. And she looks a little bit like kind of like Daft Punkish with that helmet on. I gotta get some Daft Punk vibes.
Yeah. I feel like the purple bodysuit's giving me a little Zam Wessel vibes from Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Hopefully she's a more memorable character than Zam Wessel, because I think most people are like, who? What? What the fuck are you talking about? Are you just making up names and pretending they're Star Wars names? You could do it.
We're gonna get into some prequel stuff. There's some prequel things in this reveal that I've kind of feel about.
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued.
So we get this. We got General Hux and Allegiant General Pride, which I don't think he's a return character. Is he a return character?
No, that's a new character portrayed by Richard E. Grant. Yep. New to The Rise of Skywalker.
Kind of looks like maybe General Hux is just fucking up everything, and so they call in an older, more seasoned veteran to kind of take the helm, I think.
Yeah, maybe at one point he'll turn blue and his eyes will turn red.
Oh. Shit! He's really wearing makeup and contacts right now.
Yeah, probably not though. He's doing a Red Skull thing from the first Avenger. Probably not. Though.
What else do we get? We get some behind the scenes look. It looks like they've got the front of like some sort of speeder thing or something going on there. And then C-3PO under an umbrella because it's hot in a tin suit, I imagine. We got Rey, Chewbacca, and BB-8 on looks like some sort of speeder thing going on, which is pretty cool.
Very good.
Ooh, the next one's a big one. We have Billy D. Williams reprising the role of Lando Calrissian, and he's with no other than Poe Dameron, BB-8, Dio, which is the new little cone droid.
Little cone head.
Yeah. And Chewbacca.
Or Chewbacca,
so that's
as he is sometimes called by Lando Calrissian himself.
Now, this next picture here, Finn and a new ally, Janna, they're on top of these horse-looking things. And
I like the look of these horse-looking things.
In the caption, okay, this is what kind of brings me back to episode 1. It says they're on top of these horse things, and they're fighting mechanized forces of the First Order. I'm getting a little bit of droid army versus the Gungans.
Okay.
You say in big doodle this time, Jaja.
That's it.
Oh, moi.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Well, I could say the aesthetic and the design here is infinitely superior than the horrifying digital aesthetic from the Phantom Menace, at least at the end there anyway. So,
we get some more stuff. We got a camera operator guy. We got some locals from Jordan play the Aki, natives of the planet Pasana, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, cool alien designs and such.
Yeah, you know.
Very Star Warsy type things, of course.
We've got Rey and Kylo in lightsaber battle on Snow Planet.
I think this one has wallpaper potential. What do you think?
Yeah, once it's a big one. I don't think it's big enough, is it?
Yeah, it's not actually my wallpaper, but I'm just looking at it. Like if it looks like this in the film, that's canvas-esque, if you will.
Could be a thing for sure. We got some score action going on here with our lady in the back, with our princess in the back there.
Mm-hmm. Of course, the great John Williams coming back for episode 9.
We get Luke.
And Luke, yeah. So what's going on here? He's looking pretty sprightly for a dead man.
Yeah, it's got to be a flashback to when his temple burnt down because there's fire behind him.
Yeah, the fire. I could definitely see that. Yeah.
And then we get some cover.
Or it's just without like a halo effect, like the Force Ghost effect or something like that. Or he's just back from the dead. The Last Jedi
He never really died.
Everyone, it's time to celebrate. The Last Jedi was just a real bad dream. It was a real bad dream.
Maybe
everyone was in a snow globe or something. I don't know.
And then we have some magazine covers here.
Some magazine covers, that's right. Yeah. Rey looking nice and spiffy, and then Kylo looking nice and spiffy.
Kylo looks like he's wearing some comfortable clothing. That
it does look. Yeah, he's styling it up.
With the exception of the cape. Maybe that's
the cape. I think the cape is for the style. You wear the cape for the style, not for the
little bit of flair, right? But it's pretty comfortable looking. Whatever that is, I'd wear it.
Yeah,
maybe not around town, but I'd wear it.
Well, you might get some funny looks, I suppose. But if you lived out
all over at the house for sure, be covered.
I mean, if you were the leader of the First Order, you could wear whatever the fuck you want.
It's true.
People might laugh about you behind your back, but then you'll just take your lightsaber out and chop their face off. Yeah. Not their head, just the face,
or cut up the elevator or whatever.
just ruin some fucking panels. Ruin some panels on a Star Destroyer, like a little baby, baby Kylo.
That's all I got there for Star Wars. That's a pretty good run through.
Well, that's all you got. Well, I've got more Star Wars. We can talk about Star Wars all fucking day, baby.
Two Star Wars newses.
And back to back. We got a double dose of Star Wars news. Now, this one I'm taking a little bit more with a grain of salt because it's coming courtesy of BuzzFeed News, and they are apparently the exclusive source on this, and I don't know how trustworthy they are. That said, they're not taking that far of a leap in terms of what it's actually talking about, although the parties attached, maybe. We'll see what happens. What I'm talking about is a potential film that will be based on Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, which, of course, was a video game, came out back in 2003. The Old Republic, is kind of formed the basis of like a section of the lore for Star Wars that people have just been yearning for Lucasfilm and its current iteration to just like finally just bring to the big screen. Movie, TV show, like fucking do something. We had the MMO. I think is an ongoing thing. I think it's still an ongoing thing. Yeah, so we have the kind of the video game corner of the market covered, but it seems like such a rich world. It takes place so many years before anything that we've ever seen in film that it would have to be just totally different and just like a totally new thing and a totally fresh thing to do with Star Wars while still bringing some really recognizable characters for, fans of the games and such like that. So the word on the street is that Laeta Kalogrodis is apparently writing a script that will adapt some story from Knights of the Old Republic. I'm not sure if it's exactly the game's story or something set within the world, how exactly that would play out.
Right.
But yeah, she's apparently the one that Lucasfilm has chosen, and I will tell you a little bit about what Laeta Kalogrodis has done in her career, so you might form your expectations accordingly. So I think the biggest thing that she's done recently is she was the showrunner of Altered Carbon, the Netflix television show.
Oh.
And she has quite a few other writing credits to go alongside that. So she co-wrote Alita, Battle Angel, more recently than that. She co-wrote Shutter Island back in the day with Leo in it. But she's got some stinkers on there. Can't ignore those, such as Alexander back in the day with Colin Farrell in it. the Oliver Stone film, and a little bit more recently the Terminator Genesis film, which was real bad.
Oh man! Don't forget A Wrinkle in Time.
So you never know. I've seen a few tweets going around. So apparently the HBO show Chernobyl is like fucking incredible. It's like a 5-part miniseries. People have been raving about it, saying it's so good, really so good. And then there's a lot of people like just like really shocked by how good it is. And then they are curious, so they go online and like who's responsible for this. And apparently the guy, like the showrunner of that show, wrote Hangover 2 and 3. So
really,
it's possible to have bad things on your resume and still churn out talented things.
Do you know what that's about?
It's about the big accident in Chernobyl that irradiated a handful of people and such. Back in the day.
So it's like a period piece about the meltdown.
Yeah.
Okay. Anytime you say Chernobyl, you either get like crazy post-apocalyptic.
No, yeah. It's not
or...
like Stalker or anything like that. I think it's intended to be like a historical period piece. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly if it might be based off of like a novel or something like that kind of was intended to be kind of the real story, but I'm not sure exactly what it was doing. I think it was intended to be at least somewhat historical nature. Maybe they embellished like characters and details and stuff like that. I honestly don't know. I haven't seen it, but like I said, I've heard those great things, and obviously I heard that. So I put that out there to say that don't worry about maybe some bad credits on someone's filmography. Doesn't mean it's the end of the world.
Guy Ritchie did Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and he also did Guy Ritchie do that? Why you look at? Okay.
Well, I was trying to figure out.
He also did King Arthur,
which wasn't horrible, admittedly. But we'll talk about Guy Ritchie. We can talk about Guy Ritchie. We can put a pen in that. Sure. That sounds like a place we can go
Lock,
to.
Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels was excellent.
Yeah. I mean, well, early Guy Ritchie is pretty classic. For sure. Knights of the Old Republic, I think that's very cool. Hopefully it happens. I just assumed that the Benioff and Weiss film trilogy was going to be this. As far as I understand it, they're writing their own stuff, so who knows what they're doing. It'll probably be great, of course. So, Star Wars. I like Star Wars, so more Star Wars is good, Again, until Lucasfilm shows to me that they've lost the plot, I'm going to give them the benefit on the doubt on pretty much everything they do. I think that's probably a healthy approach for me, anyway.
That's it.
For some, they've already ruined their childhood. So what are you going to do?
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Yeah. I believe you.
So I tell you what I believe in.
All right,
and what I trust in is Rambo. I trust in Rambo. That's what I trust in.
I was a little. I know what news you're covering, but I was trying to figure out. I was just like, shit, where's he going to take this? Rambo. Okay, I get it. Yeah. I mean, Rambo's a badass motherfucker.
And John Rambo,
you're going to put your faith
in
someone, Yeah, I think so.
We got a little trailer for John Rambo, for Rambo Last
Blood, until Sly decides to make another one. In 10 years.
Yeah, it's true. In 10 years, he's going to be fucking like 85 years old. I don't think he can...
What'll happen is he'll fuck up the naming scheme even more than it's already fucked up, and he'll just do Rambo Last Blood Part 2. Or something like that. Or Part 3. Just
Rambo.
Fuck with everyone.
More blood. Donated blood.
Donated blood. Typo. Typo blood.
Anyways, we get this one, and it looks like a bonkers Rambo movie.
I'm totally on board for this.
It looks like we get some Home Alone action, get some Home Alone booby trap action in it.
Some booby traps action, yeah, that's fun. I mean, Sly, in spite of how old is Sly? To be honest,
he's in his 70s, isn't he?
Is he? Man,
I think I'm pretty sure he's in his 70s.
That sounds right in my head, but it feels wrong in my heart.
I think every time we talk about something,
we just bring it up. I'm like, how old is this guy? 72. He's 72 years old.
Yeah, we talked about it last time.
I think we do, because I mean, he doesn't seem to operate like a man that's 72 years old. Not what you traditionally think of as a 72-year-old man, anyway.
No, definitely not.
Well, good for him. He's making fucking Rambo movies, making Rocky movies and shit. Like, I'm on board for this. You think about, Sylvester Stallone. I think you think about fucking Rocky, and you think about Rambo, and it's cool to see if indeed this is the heyday for Rambo, which I honestly do expect this is it for him. Which I think the fourth one was intended to be it as well. So that's kind of why I make the joke in the first place. But
that was a cool ass movie. I like that one a whole lot.
This one, I don't. Did they put out a red band for this? I think they just put out the green band, but I'm sure this is going to be hyper violent and stuff, just like you'd expect from a Rambo film. I mean, there's hints at it in the trailer, and obviously cutaways to obscure it all. But he's I guess is he hunting down the cartel? I think that's what he's doing.
That's what it looked like.
Sure, what it looks like. Yeah.
He's all surrounded at one point by him, and then I don't know how he gets out of that situation. But
I think Rambo's going to single-handedly dismantle the entire Mexican cartel. That's what's going to happen in this film, and I'm here for it, baby. Can't wait to see it.
It's like the most American fucking thing we could do. If we don't have a wall, we out Rambo at the very least. So
yeah, I'm in. It looks cool. I mean, the piss filter is a little played out with Mexico and all, but you expect it. So I'm in. I'll give it a go. September 20th, 2019. Look at that, right around the corner. It's a very short wait. Oh.
It is a short wait.
How about
anyways,
that?
Yeah, Rambo. And I tell you what's not a short wait. I'm a little worried about it.
Oh no.
I am sincerely kind of upset that they pushed it out, because I was really looking forward to it after I saw the trailer. And that's Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic the Hedgehog's been delayed until February of 2020.
It's just the worst, right? Isn't that the worst? Like, just hurts your heart to know that you won't see Sonic until 2020.
Like, it's not going to make the movie any better.
Well, I don't know if we actually legitimately talked about it. I made a kind of a one-off reference to it on our Avengers spoiler episode, but the director legit announced on Twitter that they were redoing the entire design for Sonic in the film. Right. And presumably the VFX artists, had plenty of shots at least pretty done. That's not a simple like drag and drop kind of thing and call it a day. That's like a, hey, we have to reanimate this whole fucking movie. What the fuck kind of response. Like literally no one involved looked at that design and thought, no, maybe not. Maybe let's just do something else. I don't know why they don't literally just do the video game design. Like, it's not designed to be fucking realistic anyway. Just literally put at this point with the amount of time, well, maybe since they'll have the delay, it'll help. But like, shit, man, probably just take the fucking 3D model from the latest game, just the renders from that, and just throw it in the movie and call it, good enough.
It's not going to make the movie any better.
That's true. This is ultimately a waste of money. It's a real New Mutants type situation where they're like, yeah, we're gonna reshoot it, and they've been saying that for like 3 years now, and I'm like, yeah, you guys looked like fucking 18. Now you're like 30 years old. Like you can't reshoot this movie anymore. Like it just doesn't work that way.
Well, good thing for Sonic, he doesn't age. So
good thing for Sonic. Yeah, he's all CG. He's fine. But I wonder what it. Can you imagine if he looks even more fucked on the back end of this. Like they go back to the drawing board, and then you have your Tails picture that you like. What if he looks like that, but like it just blue basically?
That'd be hilarious. I think do you think they'd cancel the movie at that point?
I mean, that'd be a lot of sunken costs. I mean, surely people like us will be curious enough to at least throw in an AMC A-list ticket at it and give them some of their money back. Enough, more than they would get if they just said, you know what, fuck this, and didn't bother.
Direct to DVD, or
no, maybe
I don't know.
Yeah, I could see a streaming dump. That'd be a route right for a Sonic movie.
Anyways,
pack in with the next Sonic game.
Oh Lord, it's a
well,
bad
I have some date news as well. News, things coming out. Well, sooner than Sonic anyway. But Jessica, season 3, or should I say the final season, is coming out June 14th of this year.
Very nice, right around the corner.
Actually, I just thought about that. That is literally a week and a half away.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a quick turnaround. To be fair, it's obvious that Netflix doesn't give a flying fuck about any of this anymore because they've canceled everything. But wow, they are just straight up like, yeah, it's coming out in like 2 weeks. Fuck it, which is it's kind of a cool thing. Like
I think that's what Netflix usually does with all their shit.
That's true. Yeah, I guess I don't know. I literally put 2 and 2 together when I looked at that date, and I looked at today's date, and I'm like, oh, that's 10 days away. Oh, okay. Well, all right, cool. Yeah, I guess it's right around the corner. I mean,
more shit for us to cover.
More shit for us to watch. Yeah. I feel like we have to watch it, given that I think we've covered every bit of the Netflix universe, the Marvel Netflix universe, that is. So I feel like we owe it to ourselves to cover the last season. Sure. I'm not going to say I'm overly excited about it. Like season 2, I thought was totally fine, but didn't exactly leave it in a place where I'm just like, oh my God, what happens next? So,
right.
Yeah, but it did feel like a middle chapter, so I'd be curious to see how they close the door on this one, assuming that they, at least unlike some of the other shows, were able to film it or write it in a way that it feels like a conclusion. You know, like Luke Cage and Iron Fist were just like, oh, can't wait for our next... Oh.
Surprise!
Well, there you go. Daredevil had a little bit of finality to it. Not a ton. Punisher had kind of that goofy-ass closing shot, which kind of felt like a, all right, we get it kind of thing. So we'll see. We'll see what they do with it. It'll be fine. I think it'll be totally fine.
Yeah.
I'll watch it. I'll give it a watch.
I'll tell you what, I don't think it'll be fine.
What?
I don't think that Terminator Dark Fate's going to be fine.
What? It looks so good.
We got an official teaser trailer for that.
You did?
And it's
well, producer James Cameron is returning. I don't know if you saw that in the trailer, but they made a big point to mention how we fucked it for 15 years now, but James Cameron's back. Our billions are the truckloads of billions are coming our way this time with Terminator.
I mean, I guess it could be okay, but it looks kind of.
This trailer was bad. Whew.
I laughed my ass off.
Trailer.
You got what's her face holding she's shooting the fucking thing, the Terminator there in the beginning, and then she pulls out the rocket launcher. She shoots him with the rocket.
Sierra Connor.
Yeah, I laughed about that.
Which I like. I like the return of Linda Hamilton. I mean, I think literally the first time we've seen her on screen is Sarah Connor since T2, if I'm not mistaken. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But God, everything else looks horrible. It looks really fucking shockingly bad. Like this looks, I don't know. I mean, Genesis was fucking shit. It was just shit. And this looks right, like it belongs in the same pile with it. And this is supposed to be like a kind of clean reset in a way. Like it's basically this picks up after T2. It ignores T3 on, which is probably a good move because that's where things started to go off the deep end real quickly and not in a good way. But I mean, it's literally been since Terminator 2 since we've had a good fucking Terminator movie. Like, what the fuck? It can't be this hard. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't. Maybe it requires James Cameron to do something besides just produce or whatever, i.e., throw money at it or whatever the case may be. But I don't know. I like the cast, but everything looks so bad.
What do you make of that robot? Is it like a layer of T2 robot on top of like a Arnold robot?
It's kind of what it seems like because when it's separated, he seems to still have some sort of internal skeleton. Yeah, because he's not like a little jelly man, jellying around or anything like that. Where if someone punched him, he'd be like Mr. Fantastic and stretch. Like it doesn't seem like that. It seems like there's stability to him while there's still the kind of the full endoskeleton that remains behind. I don't know. Like they do that every time. Like here's a new robot. Terminator. Here's a new twist on it. I'm like I get that. That's fine. But it just
I don't need it.
Yeah.
Do you need a new robot every time?
Know. Not if you just make an effective movie, without resorting to gimmicks to try to advance it. Like, this just feels like, look at this cool new thing, and it's just honestly, I mean...
And she's like a half-human robot hybrid? What's going on with her? Do you know?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with her either, yeah.
She's like...
They've kind of done that before.
Oh, have they?
They had Sam Worthington, who was it was a robot who thought he was human in Salvation, and Genesis, they kind of had something. I don't remember. They're all fucked. They're all fucking stupid movies. This one just looks dumb. I know it's not out yet, obviously. It comes out in November, but the CG in this trailer was embarrassingly bad.
It didn't look very good.
there's no reason this trailer should have been released in this state. Not with the footage that it focused on, not with the footage that it contained. I kind of maintain, honestly, that if you cannot cut together a good 2-minute trailer, I can't imagine what your final product looks like. It's not to say that that's always true. You know, sometimes marketing really does screw the pooch. I don't think that's the case here. I just don't think there's a whole lot to work with if I had to guess. You know, there's like the only one. Oh my God! I just paused it. I'm just going frame by frame. This is like Scorpion King level shit at one point. It's admittedly like one little screen grab, and it doesn't look like that for most of it. But holy hell, this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. Paramount, go home. You're drunk, I think is what happened here.
Dark fate.
I feel bad. Good cast. Like, I feel bad for Linda Hamilton. I feel, Arnie's coming back.
She does have a badass shotgun, though.
Gabriel Luna, like a cool cast. Mackenzie Davis, I like that. But, man, this ain't it, Chief. This ain't it. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah, I don't know. And I kind of think I don't really like the endoskeleton. I think he looks kind of weird. Now that I'm
Living tissue of an endoskeleton.
Arnold's back though, and that's cool.
Cyberdyne Systems. I'm going to speak with my Arnold voice for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's probably gonna be shit.
Ow!
Anyways,
we're going to talk about the next trailer that we've got on tap. It's the Onward official teaser trailer. I, Arnold Schwarzenegger, am not in this film, but it stars a good friend of mine, Chris Pratt and Tom Holland. Anyway, that's enough of that. Just bailing out. Next Pixar film, Onward official teaser trailer for anyone that couldn't decipher my horrible Arnold impression. This is the last piece of news, not to bury the lead or whatever, but it's a movie about two teenage elf brothers who go on a quest to see if there's some magic. So it's like, like fantasy type setting, except modernized. So it's like elves and centaurs and shit, and then there's cars and airplanes and stuff. So, it's kind of, typical 3D Pixar animation. I'm not sure. I'd have to do a quick little research here. I'm going to do a quick little research, on-the-spot research, it is sometimes called. So it's directed by Dan Scanlon, who directed Monsters University previously for Pixar. So I figured usually they keep a lot of the same talent in-house that kind of do, one project after the another type thing. So, Chris Pratt, Tom Holland. I got to say this trailer didn't do anything for me. Animation looks good and whatever, but I don't know. Just the idea, just kind of, I'm not sold on it.
It's almost like a what's that Will Smith movie that come out on Netflix? Bright.
Yeah, it's probably better than that one if I had to guess. But yeah, it is actually. That's true. Like that's kind of like the adult live action version on it. This is, I think, the kiddie riff. It doesn't have to be kiddie. But the Pixar riff on it, I'm sure will probably be a lot better than that. But this tells you nothing about the movie other than like the very, very basic premise, which again isn't enough to get me like excited about it or interested in it really, other than knowing that it's a Pixar project. If it wasn't a Pixar project, I'd probably give this one look and say, nah, I'm good. So I would say I'm gonna play a wait and see approach on this one. I think once we get a trailer that gives us a little bit more of a sense, because presumably it will expand beyond kind of what we saw here. Like if we get into more fantastical elements and actually blend that in a creative manner with the modern technology and stuff like that, that could be interesting. But I just didn't see any of that here. But good, I like Tom Holland. I like Chris Pratt. So Pixar, sure. March 6th, 2020, Onward releases in theaters.
Very nice.
Very nice. Well,
that's all I got on my news.
Do you want to talk about something else that's it could be very nice? I don't know, or maybe it's not very nice.
Do we want to talk about Prince Ali? Strong as 10 average men.
I just want to take you to a whole new world.
That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. Arabian Nights.
Arabian Days. We'll talk about it. Let's do it.
All right, so Aladdin. Let's talk about Aladdin. It's been a long time coming. 90 episodes in the making, something like that anyway. Aladdin, Guy Ritchie's Aladdin. I'm just going to call it Guy Ritchie's Aladdin because it is. It isn't. Well, it isn't. It isn't. But it was written by John August and Guy Ritchie. So, again, Guy Ritchie's Aladdin. Directed by Guy Ritchie, based on the original Disney cartoon Aladdin by Ron Clements, John Musker, Ted Elliott, and Terry Rossio. Stars Will Smith, Mina Massoud, Naomi Scott, Marwan Kenzari, Naveed Nagaban, Nassim Pedrad, and Billy Magnuson. Aladdin, an Arabian street urchin, discovers a magic lamp containing a genie with the power to make his deepest wishes come true.
But there's only 3, and there's rules.
There's rules. There are rules. That's true. It's true. Maybe we'll
can't make
talk
anybody
about it. Maybe
love
it'll
them?
come up. I don't know.
Oh wait, yeah, we can't talk about those. Those are spoilers.
Okay. So box office. Let's talk box office. Aladdin has done exceptionally well, in my opinion. Very, very strong debut for it. Number 1 debut, dethroning John Wick, and landing at $91.5 million in its opening weekend, with a $116.8 million take for the 4-day Memorial Day weekend. Sits at $185.5 million total domestically, with a worldwide box office tally of $449.8 million total worldwide. So it's not like Beauty and the Beast type heights, which like was fucking ridiculous when it came out for Disney. But I feel like maybe it's just my personal feelings kind of being conflated with maybe how the general audience felt, but the marketing was fucking dog shit for this film. There was very little to get excited about for this film, but clearly something got people excited. And people turned out. People turned out for it. We turned out for it, I guess, to be fair, but you know, it's our job in a way. Not a real job, but it's our fake job that we do for fun. We saw it alongside the millions of people that made up those millions of dollars and such. So what'd you think? Aladdin, Guy Ritchie's Aladdin. It's finally here.
General impressions are it was better than I thought. Will Smith was better than I thought. Jasmine was excellent. The music compared to the cartoon was
And you're the Aladdin expert, so I'm taking this all in. Our listeners should take it all in.
It might be just because I might have nostalgia for the original, but I prefer the music from the original. It's a little bit more. I do think certain people are better singers than others. I think Jasmine, I think, is probably one of the best, but is the best vocalist in the whole deal, in the whole movie, I think. But some of the other casting was pretty rough. I don't care for Jafar. I think Jafar.
Hey, there it is. It did come back up.
Yeah, Jafar was terribly miscast, I think, or he just did not do a good job. But at the same time, though, I don't know. I just don't think he's cast well. I really like the original dad, Jasmine's dad.
In the cartoon, you mean?
Yeah, in the cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
In the cartoon, Jasmine's dad's kind of like just like a bumbling old man.
Yeah.
I don't think that's necessarily the case in this one.
No. They did a little bit more there, yeah.
Which is fine, but I just like the over the top nature of some of the characters in the original. What else is there? That's pretty much all I got. Now it does. I will tell you that I was late getting to this movie. I got caught up at work, and my ticket was already purchased for me, and people were already in the movie watching it. So I went to go see it, and I have not gone and seen it again. But I started the movie when he goes into the Cave of Wonder. That's when I got into the movie theater. So I don't know how much I missed, time-wise. Felt like I watched a good majority of the movie, though.
Yeah. Did you? I don't remember the exact timeline of things, but like with him being like a street rat and
being in the city, like the beginning and stuff like that? Did you
totally
catch any of that? Okay.
No.
He probably missed a handful of songs, probably like 20 minutes overall, but not anything plot critical, if I had to guess. We can maybe fill in the gaps, and spoilers might be a good place to do it. So yeah, sounds like you're digging it overall. Reservations,
totally okay.
But yeah, I think better than expected is a good place to go with this one, because, like I said, the marketing material was just bad. Everything that we saw was extremely worrisome, and I kind of felt that way. Someone with not really any nostalgia for Aladdin other than knowing of Aladdin, and again knowing just kind of general beats. So I was just like, I don't have enough reverence for this that will either help it, because I'll just be like, look, it's the thing that I saw, except it's live action, like, and that's enough for me. Or you could be the opposite stance of that, where, wow, the cartoon is so much better. What the fuck is this shit? I was just kind of like,
right?
This is kind of just like a novel experience for me overall. Like, I don't remember enough to tell you one way or another if I should be in either camp. So I kind of went in with, reservations walking in because of the marketing, but an open mind, in the sense that my expectations were just kind of based on that, not from anything from the cartoon. And I got to say, I was way surprised with how much I liked it. There was stuff in it that I did not like at all.
Okay.
Most of which
all
you've
right. mentioned.
And I think overall, actually, I agree with every single thing you've said. I was wondering about this, because I didn't know if I was taking the crazy pills when I walked out of the cinema, if I was just like, I was just in a jolly mood that day, or what the fucking case was. So I was actually kind of curious to get to hear what your take on it was going to be, because I was just like, I don't know, like, if someone hated this, like, I guess I probably wouldn't be surprised, but I had
Aladdin songs stuck in my head for the remainder of the night.
I really didn't think it was that bad. I didn't think it did anything amazingly well. I don't think that it adds anything that more interesting than the cartoon did. Like, I think there's a few things they did, to change things, which I thought I liked. Like maybe one or two changes. Everything else I thought was for the worse overall, or in terms of casting, it wasn't adapted very well, particularly, or something like that. But so I liked it. The music was catchy, everything was good. I think what's good about this film is stuff that was good in the cartoon that they just managed to translate well. And
yeah.
Again, I think that's enough for some. Like, and I think just the novelty of seeing a live action version of a classic Aladdin cartoon is cool. Like, I think that's cool. I know people are getting tired of the Disney live action stuff or whatever, but Dumbo aside, I think they've done pretty all right. I mean, like I would point to Dumbo as like the one example of like, oh wow, this is fucking lazy, fucking lifeless bullshit. This one at least had a little bit of energy to it and a little bit of inspiration to it. Like, I'm not going to say that it really felt like a Guy Ritchie film, because I don't think that it did.
No, nothing shined through, I don't think.
And you could say that's a good or a bad thing. I think that it could have benefited from a little Guy Ritchie inspiration, but I feel like maybe Disney was like, hey,
tight grip.
We're going to kind of, rein you in as much as possible. And it kind of felt like a reined in Guy Ritchie. Like, there was parts in it that felt a little bit, a little bit zanier, but overall I didn't get a whole lot of Guy Ritchie influences out of it. But it felt like a mostly competently directed film, colorful film, interesting kind of like Bollywood type influences with a lot of its sequences, which,
yeah,
it's kind of fun. It was kind of fun. I think how they did a lot of it. I think it was visually entertaining enough, with coupled with the music to make it all work. And I think that the principal cast all worked well enough to varying degrees to make it all kind of work too. There's really only one character for me that was completely fucking off the mark, and that was Jafar.
Jafar was terrible. He was rough.
I think it was just a miscast. I don't think I've seen the guy in anything else that played him. If I have, I don't recall what he did in that. But they kind of aged the character down. He just had no menace. He barely felt like a villain. He barely felt like a threat. And like, so I I liked this shit well enough that I went home and I checked out my Blu-ray collection, and lo and behold, I had Aladdin, the original Aladdin, on Blu-ray. So
and you gave it a rewatch.
I popped that bad boy in, and I watched that so I could kind of, take notes and compare the two. And I knew when I watched the live action one, I was just like, oh, this Jafar guy, he's just not doing it for me, like. I don't know if I can quite put my finger on it, but I was just like, he just felt like a shit villain. And I watched the cartoon, I'm like, Jafar is fucking awesome, yo.
He's fucking terrifying. He's got a fucking mark. He's got that parrot, and
yeah. They changed enough to let it be its own thing in a way. I mean, it's not radically different overall, but I think that they expanded on the characterization of everyone, Jafar included, and again, I think that just worked to varying degrees. So I think that the stuff they added to Jasmine I really liked. Aladdin I think is pretty much the same between both, which titular character, he had the most to work with in the cartoon to begin with. Obviously, like the dad you said had a lot more. The Sultan, there was a lot more added to his character to make him just not feel like a one-note bumbling idiot for the whole thing, which,
right.
You may take it or leave it, I suppose, as you will. And even Jafar, they added a little bit more to make him, I don't know if it was intended to make him more relatable, what the case was intended to be, but, like, he worked better in the cartoon as just this, mustache twirling asshole of a guy. Like, I think that was just a better approach. And I think that they tried to make him more of Aladdin's equal in some ways. Like, it just didn't work. It's just the approach to the character was all wrong.
Yeah,
the performance was all wrong. All aspect. There was no aspect of it which I thought, oh yeah, and I was like, nah, this is just a whole total misfire across the board with Jafar.
Yeah. And I didn't care. I mean, Genie got a lot of expansion too.
Genie is obviously. I was pleasantly surprised with the Genie. I guess, given that the Genie is such a big character, I feel like that was kind of a make or break type thing for the film, in a way, because, well, I mean, Robin Williams did so much for that character in the cartoon, and understandably, I think a lot of people are probably walking into this movie reticent to believe that Will Smith can fill those shoes. But I think the cleverest thing that they did was that they somewhat sidestepped it for the most part. The Genie in this is pretty different. It's a Will Smith Genie. If you don't like Will Smith, you're not going to like the Genie, you know what I mean? Like I think it's as simple as that. But I'm glad that they didn't try to put Will Smith into the role of the Robin Williams Genie. There's moments, obviously, like, kind of broad strokes, so you get it, like, oh, it's still the Genie or whatever, but right. I think overall, in terms of the way that he performs the character, and in terms of the songs and stuff like that, it's definitively Will Smith. So that's another thing of, like, well, you're either going to like that or you're not. For me, I like Will Smith overall. I've found that his project selection recently has been, like, bright and stuff like that, so it kind of speaks for itself. Suicide Squad kind of speaks for itself. And this one, could have been, I think, a disastrous, role for him yet again. But it felt like he brought some energy to it. Like, he brought some life to it. Like, to me, this felt like the first time in a while that Will Smith kind of gave it a little something. Like, I really felt like Will Smith was, trying to channel some old Will Smith energy, and I appreciated that. I thought he was totally enjoyable in the role, and I think that the way that they kind of manipulated the character to be different than what we've seen before in the cartoon, I think was smart. I think it was a smart approach. So, and Princess Bay, we didn't talk about Princess Bay. I didn't talk about Princess Bay. Jasmine, of course, is Princess Bay. I think we're both enamored enough that we can have a collective name for the podcast. She Princess is. Bay. Without a doubt, the best performer in the cast, easily the best singer. I would say overall, I would agree with you, having gone back and watched the old cartoon and listened to it. A lot more talented voice cast there, which I guess it's one of those things. It's tough when you're translating from one to the other. You kind of want to, instead of just having the voice presence, you need both. You need the physical presence and the voice presence. But it's totally possible to have both. And I feel like some were lacking. I don't want to say some were lacking, but like Will Smith is a much better rapper than he is a singer. And so when they lean into that, I think that's fine. The Mina Masood Aladdin, I thought he was fine, not amazing, but like totally fine for the role.
No, see, I think with him they had to change. I bet he has less vocal range than.
I think so too. Well, it's probably true of, I would imagine, most of the cast compared to their animated counterparts.
Because and it could just be that they wanted to, create different music, I guess, but.
I just wanted to create a whole new world.
Yeah, see, like, even the whole new world was, like, it sounded like it was pitched down. You know what I mean?
I think so, too. Yeah.
It didn't sparkle quite like the cartoon did. Which is fine. It ended up at the latter portion of that. I don't want to get in this, like, I don't know if it's spoiler or not, but I feel like the latter portion of that song caught on, and I caught there's one point where the song goes down instead of going up. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh no, they're ruining my favorite song. and then it came through and was fine. But yeah, Princess Bay can sing songs. That's for sure. She's good.
That is for sure. That is for sure. So, what else? Yeah, I mean,
there's one spot that I thought was stupid. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask if you noticed the weird frame rate shift in some of the sequences. You might have missed part of it, actually. This might have been part of the sequence that you missed, I think, early on. But it's like they sped up part of the film, like it looked like they added frames, and there was a couple times it looked like they chopped frames out to keep it in sync with the music, and it was super fucking distracting.
Ooh. I don't think I noticed that.
I didn't care for that at all. Like, I think it was mostly early in the film with like Aladdin's kind of stuff early on in the film, so you might have skipped out on that inadvertently. So I have that to say. What were you going to say?
There's one spot that it's definitely a spoiler spot.
Okay. Well, hold on to that thought. My only last thought for non-spoilers is that I thought the CGI was still actually pretty bad overall. The genie stuff in particular looked as bad as it did in the trailer, as horrifying as it did in the trailer. Fortunately, you don't have to see it that often, which I think was a smart move. So yeah, that's recommendation. What do you think? Is this strong enough for a theater? Is it a Blu-ray? I think it's at least one of the two. Yeah,
I think it's a Blu-ray.
It's a Blu-ray recommendation for you.
Yeah, it could have been much worse, but I think it was.
Yeah,
it's a solid. It's a confident Blu-ray recommendation. Like, I feel good saying
I can get on board with that. I'm at the point where, yeah, I will safely add this to my collection. When it does come out on Blu-ray, I would definitely recommend anyone else check it out on Blu-ray, because I think there's enough visual splendor to it to make it pop with the format.
It's got enough heart to go see.
I think I would say if you have any sort of attachment to the material, maybe it's even worth a theater visit. If you think you're particularly predisposed towards it, it's worth checking out because you can see that kind of the way it's intended to be seen. But otherwise, it's probably not going to blow your socks off or anything like that. But at the same time, for me, someone that again wasn't overly familiar with the cartoon walking in, besides broad strokes, I found myself kind of caught off guard by how much I liked it. So, yeah. So yeah, I'll stick with you and say Blu-ray, but with the caveat of it's worth a theater visit if you feel if you're thinking it's something for you. Yeah, give it a look.
It's an entertaining movie.
Absolutely,
it is an entertaining movie.
It's more entertaining than it is good in terms of quality, I think, overall.
I would agree with you there. Mm-hmm.
I think it's a really, really big crowd pleasing movie, and I think it's performed like that. I think it's been received like a good crowd pleasing movie. And I think that's a good way to put it. Narrative frustrations aside, casting frustrations aside, technical frustrations aside. I mean, I've put a lot of things on the record that I think objectively bring the film down a peg or two or three, but it still doesn't totally diminish its entertainment value. It doesn't.
Right.
It's not like I was cringing my whole way through because of like, oh, I can't believe they did it this way or whatever. Like, no, you kind of just get sucked in and you just get taken along for a ride. And that's totally cool. I feel like I haven't watched something like this where I'm willing to kind of just... I've seen movies like this in a while. I don't think I've seen anything in a while where I'm just kind of like, yeah, that part kind of sucked, or yeah, you kind of sucked, or yeah, but I'm like, but I had fun with it. Like
Yeah.
like maybe an Aquaman type thing, maybe in a way.
Yeah,
Like,
I gotcha. Sure.
Kind of in the same boat, if I had to guess. Boat, Aquaman. Crushing it. Arabian Nights. In a boat. Crushing it.
In a boat.
So let's do spoilers. Full spoilers for Guy Ritchie's Aladdin.
So.
I know you got things to say, so time to say them is now, my friend. What you got?
Homegirl can sing a really good song, and it was a very good song, the one in the palace.
Speechless? The
one they added in there, the new song.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, where she went Thanos and snapped everyone out of existence while she was singing.
And that whole. I feel like that was just
that whole new world.
I
don't know. You said that whole. I was trying to help you out.
That whole sequence I feel like was shoehorned in for whatever reason. The song was sang really good. It was a good song. I'm not gonna say it was a bad song, but
what actually happened there? It's been like a week since I've seen the live action one.
So she's walking outside.
She's not actually disappearing fools, right? Like what's actually happening in that moment, or is she doing that?
She's just she's thinking about that in her head, and she's singing the song.
That's what I thought. I just couldn't remember it. I was like, I mean, like there's magic and shit, obviously, in the movie. I was like, I don't think Jasmine actually has any magic or anything. I just couldn't remember. Like it was just kind of like the visual depiction of her, like saying, like, you know what, fuck you, I will not go down quietly tonight. Like that was kind of, I guess, the idea behind it, right?
Yeah,
she won't be speechless.
Like if you're gonna do that, actually have her march her ass back inside. You know what I mean? Versus have her sing the song, have people disappear, then start her back at the door, and then walk her back inside. I thought the sequence was really stupid.
Just make her do it as she sings, like just make the whole sequence play out through song. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I agree with that.
Have her yank her arms down and fucking march her ass back in there, and then have the guy call off the guards don't do anything, and she's singing her song and doing her shit, and then at the end of it she does her little speech, and that would have been totally fun. But the sequence that they gave us, I think, was kind of horseshit, and I thought that was kind of stupid.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Oh, no, go ahead.
Genie,
I'm all ears.
Genie makes him the ultimate badass. Okay, and I remember that sequence in the cartoon. It's been a couple years since I've seen the cartoon, but when he makes Jafar the evil genie, and he's creating worlds and shit up in space, and it was totally fucking epic and awesome. I felt this was kind of lame.
I don't remember what happened in the live action because I have the cartoon more recently in my head, so I remember that. And I'm like, yeah, that was fucking badass.
That was really fucking cool. In the movie, he ends up swelling up like in the cartoon, but rather than doing like interplanetary cool shit and just being totally ridiculous and relishing in his power, he wants to do a Kamehameha and blow up that other town.
Yeah, what was his deal with that fucking place? He fucking hated those guys.
Beginning. What I missed? Did I miss something in the beginning?
He just fucking hates them. Like there's no explanation given for it. Like the whole movie is just like, hey, we should fucking kill those guys.
So nothing happened in the beginning of the movie?
No.
I thought I missed it.
No, he just fucking hates that one place. I don't even remember what place it was that he hates, but he's just like multiple times he talks to the Sultan. He's just like, they're a real threat. We should probably fucking kill them. I'm like, what?
Yeah, so that was I didn't enjoy that. I mean, it was, I don't know. It's just kind of, that's where I feel like
I was
I'm
a little
wrong.
disappointed, having now watched the cartoon. Why didn't he turn into a snake? That was badass. Where the fuck was that?
That was badass.
Big ass fucking snake and shit. Put Jasmine in a fucking hourglass like a fucking badass. Like, nah,
that was
man.
pretty fucking
nothing.
Cool. Yeah,
they stripped Jafar of everything fucking cool. Even Iago. Iago used to be fucking Gilbert Gottfried, just shrieking around everywhere. Now he barely talks. I'm like, what are you doing here? Come on.
And I feel like his bird got a cooler moment than he did, though. I mean, it turns into a giant.
Yeah, it turned into a big fucker. That didn't happen in the cartoon.
That didn't happen in the cartoon. Nope. But Jafar didn't. His stick came alive.
That's what they did. Instead of making Jafar into a big ass snake, they fucking turned his bird into a bigger bird. Big bird. They turned his bird into a big bird.
Lame.
He's big yellow and he's on Sesame Street.
Jafar was definitely lame.
Yeah, the lamest part of the movie by far. Just never a moment where I was like, this guy is legit. It was like
there was no menace there whatsoever.
Right.
I tell you who I would have casted as Jafar. I would have cast that dude from American Gods. I know you haven't seen it yet.
Well,
let me see. While you're giving me your thoughts, let me send you a link.
Okay. Well,
He's actually. I think he's a genie in American Gods. I think.
Oh, maybe it'd be perfect for the role then. Yeah. So I mean, well, what do I have to say about this in spoilers? I feel like I talked about a lot. The speechless moment. I mean, I think the song edition there was great. I think the song's great. Naomi Scott fucking crushed it. Genie stuff was interesting. You know. Well, I guess maybe we could talk about the probably the biggest differences between the cartoon and the movie that I noticed, which is the whole addition of the subplot with the genie trying to become human. That's all new. That's kind of a big thing. And so there's a lot so the movie begins with it shows the human Will Smith on the boat with the kids, but it doesn't show the mother in that scenario, basically, because that's kind of the reveal that happens. So it kind of pans back to that later on in the movie. So that's kind of maybe the context for that. And it does the Arabian Nights sequence and everything like that with Will Smith singing it, and then it goes to Aladdin, just being a little street rat, and whatever however I was trying to think of the other lyrics for that song, but. One jump ahead, something like that. It's just kind of a lot of things. But they added a new thing where so Jasmine, she's in the palace pretty much the whole time, I think, until Aladdin shows up for the most part, right? In the cartoon. I don't know. They added a whole new time. Well, they added a whole new thing where Jasmine goes out to the streets and. No. They moved that forward in the movie, something like that. I don't know. I'm just gonna fucking mix up the two. It's been so long since I've seen the live action movie. I just mostly sound like an idiot right now. But so Jasmine does go out and she does the apple thing in the cartoon, right? Where she sees like the kid that's like starving, and so she gives the kid an apple and stuff like that. Did they do that in the live action movie? They do that. Yeah. So I guess that is, but that's like within like the first 2 minutes that we get introduced to Aladdin is like him doing that. And so like this whole sequence with him and Jasmine jumping across rooftops and shit, and then she is pretending to be the princess's handmaiden, which was a new character for the movie, the whole handmaiden angle. So that was kind of, I think, one of the bigger differences overall. And I think in terms of how Jafar figures out that Aladdin is the diamond in the rough, he just kind of sees him in a fucking vision or an orb or something like that in the cartoon, whereas here it's because he's able to get into the palace and such. So there's other differences. Like I said, the dancing, the dancing's different. Yeah, that's for sure.
That's your Bollywood thing, right? Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah. I think there was just a clear influence in terms of the choreography, in terms of the colors, in terms of the costuming and everything. It was all a little bit intended to be overly lavish, but I enjoyed the aesthetic of it. I thought that actually worked pretty well.
I thought overall. The dance scene was really funny. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, and there was a little bit more humor added too. So the whole jam sequence is kind of totally new and. I mean, it's like a half hour longer than the cartoon, so obviously it's expanded in some respects. And I think a lot of that was kind of the humor, and I think that they took a little bit more time to flesh out the characters, which I appreciated. The whole Jasmine, basically being actually, I should just fucking rule. That was kind of a different angle, and I like that. I thought that was good. It gave a lot more depth to Jasmine's characterization, whereas in the cartoon, she's just I'm sheltered and I don't know what the fuck the world is, and this sucks. My dad's a fucking bumbling idiot, and Jafar is the most obviously evil motherfucker in the world, and
I think it focused.
It's very simple, which is fine.
It is very simple. It's very
so, but I felt like they at least took some of the opportunity to expand upon that and give a little bit more depth to it, so that it didn't feel hollow, necessarily.
Right.
I feel like there's things that you can do in a cartoon. And there's things that you can do in live action, and often those are not going to cross over exactly in the same way. So I felt like they wanted to do a little bit more with them because the opportunity to, but also because it just would add a little bit more, little extra something to it. And I think in some cases it did.
think
like
they could have gone.
I liked the dad character in the live action movie better.
I like bumbling.
But and I know you like that, but like it was interesting to go back and watch that, and I'm just like, wow, this kid, like he's literally a fucking idiot that's getting brainwashed every 2 seconds in this movie. Like that was the entire character. But you know, I think that's you know, that's just kind of the difference between kind of.
I think you could have gone the angle.
Into the material.
I would have appreciated more of a rom-com, just rather than focus on her on I don't know. There was a lot of moving pieces in the live action one. I like the simpler aspect of it. It's just a simple princess falls in love with the prince kind of deal. You know what I mean? Or the street rat kind of deal. You know, swoops her off the feet, shows her the world, blah, 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 blah. And Aladdin's a pretty decent guy and lets the genie free. And, you know, you can't lie about things.
I think that's why the cartoon works is because of the simplicity. Like that.
It's also a lot shorter, too.
But that's what I mean. So. Like, you know, like the nature of the medium kind of just makes it work for that. Like, I think if you literally just did a live action version of the cartoon, at that point, it really would just be a case of, well, why bother? You know what I mean? So I think that the fact that they tried to take the opportunity to add a little bit of something into the characters, into the world, like I'm like, yeah, that's cool and all. It's just sometimes it did something and sometimes it didn't. Like, you know, like the handmaiden character, totally fine. You know,
that was totally fine.
Cool addition, yes. And I liked that they, you know, did something again different with the genie, where he has this kind of, well, he still wants to be free, but there's no real inclination in the cartoon that. Like him being free is going to make him human. They gave like a romantic angle to his character as well. Not like overly focused on, but enough, you know, enough that he has fucking 2 little kids running around. You know, I don't know how that happens, but
2 little baby genies.
I think something.
Well, they're not genies.
See, that's the thing. It seems like he loses his powers at the end, doesn't he? Or does he?
Did.
Like he seems like he's just like, I'm just human now, so I guess we're not getting an Aladdin sequel or whatever, or they're gonna have to use Jafar as the genie.
It's true. Somebody gets his hands on Jafar's thing.
Yeah.
After a few thousand years.
I've never seen the Aladdin sequels that they've done, like direct to VHS. I think there's at least 2, maybe more. But they always do that. They always do like so and so 2, so and so 3, and I'm just like, yeah.
Lion King got 1.5 or 2.5 or 3.5,
something like that.
Whatever,
I was gonna say something got 1.5 or 2.5, and I was just like, I think it was Lion King, but honestly, I didn't see it, so I don't know. I don't want to just make shit up. Yeah, I mean, in terms of plot, yeah, I'm at the point, honestly, for myself where like I liked this well enough that I'll happily see it again. I don't think I'll see it again in theaters, even though I did enjoy it. I'd say if I had more time and there weren't other things coming out, like Dark Phoenix, that I was just super interested in.
Fucking Godzilla.
Gojira. That I would kind of go out of my way to see it again, because I think it'd be kind of a fun romp for 2 hours. I think that's really what it is. It's a fun romp for 2 hours. It's been long enough for me that I don't have a lot to say in terms of spoilers. I remember broad strokes of how well I liked it. In terms of the plot details, people are probably getting a sense that I'm struggling here because it's been a while for me.
Hey, you sound like me a little bit. That's okay.
That's true.
Turned.
That's definitely true. But I just say some of the changes worked, some of the changes didn't work. You know, I'm glad that they didn't just try to replicate it, I guess, is the bottom line for me. Overall, it's fun. It's fun. It's a fun movie. I give it a negative Jafar out of Aladdin. That's my rating for this film.
And when I say that he was a poor Jafar, I mean he did. I think he actively detracted from my experience. Jafar did. I did not like Jafar.
Yeah. I think anytime he was on screen, I was just kind of like, I mean, really, this guy. Really?
Right, really? Every single time.
Like, I could actually, you know what, I think about it now, and I'm like, so they went to the lengths of rounding out the dad character to make him not a bumbling idiot, yet he keeps this fucking idiot around. I'm just like, that seems kind of counterintuitive in a way. Like, right? I could see, because it's like in the cartoon, it's kind of it works because he's so fucking, he's just this bumbling, you know, happy-go-lucky little fat guy, and so he just has, you know, this obviously fucking evil guy, you know, Grand Vizier Jafar, It keeps him around. He's like, "You're my most trusted advisor." I'm like, "But why? Why would anyone trust? Just look at him. Why would anyone trust him?" Here, like, I think it's a little bit different. Like, it seems like they tried to ground that a little bit more in reality.
By pulling absolutely everything away from Jafar.
But they lost everything that was critical about that in doing so. So, like, I would say, honestly, the things that I liked about Jafar got, not the literal things, but, like, the amount of things that I liked about Jafar kind of got transferred over for me to the dad character. And I'm like, well, I'd rather have a fucking compelling villain and just a doofus of a dad. Like, I think that works better. Did you catch the, forgot about this. Dad. The doofus prince or whatever from the other the
yeah he's wearing like fucking he's like a frat boy guy.
What was that was a bad change. That was
stupid.
That was rough. Like, they got backlash for that immediately. They're like, oh, they're literally inventing a new white character for fucking Aladdin. I'm like, yeah I mean, yeah. And then as it turns out, it's like they made this fucking idiot character, and I'm like, that's a waste of screen time.
Stupid.
That could have been dedicated to, making Jafar menacing or making him a fucking snake or some shit. Like, now instead we got this idiot on screen for like a minute.
Giving Aladdin somebody to be actually like jealous and question himself about. He's like, oh, I can't be with Jasmine. Look at this fucking guy. He's so kingly. And he's like, what the fuck? Look at that guy. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. It's just like, this guy's a bumbling idiot. Like, I've got no competition whatsoever. The only thing that will fuck me over is me. I guess they kind of wrote it that way, of just like, he just kind of caught himself into a circle, I guess. But anyway.
That's Aladdin, I think.
I think that's it. I don't have much else to offer on Aladdin. I think it's quite all right. It's a lot of fun. Very entertaining. It's a very entertaining film.
Oh, I really like the. A Whole New World's a really good song, right? It's one of my favorites. But Prince Ali is an incredible song in the cartoon. I really liked it.
Okay.
And I thought it was lower key in this one. It just seemed like
it. Yeah. Oh, I think that's just. Yeah, Will Smith kind of driving a lot of it. I think that his range definitely seems lower than Robin Williams.
Yeah, but when it gets to the last part, and he's like, "Oh, wait for it! Oh, we're waiting on you, and Dad finally like does his little taps on the thing, and then they pull out the horns and shit, and they start shooting off all the fireworks, and it's like an entire cityscape's partying, and I actually really enjoyed that sequence. That was really fucking cool. I got really into it.
Well, actually, I wrote it in the script, and I meant to ask it, so this is probably the best time to do it. Is that your favorite song, or is A Whole New World your favorite song? Like, what's your like your number one?
In this iteration, I like Prince Ali's my favorite song.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. It's just I've found that that's the song that's been stuck in my head the most.
Mm-hmm. And
even though I don't know the lyrics, like I just have the the beat and everything, and just the moment towards the end is fun too. Like, I think it's good. I overall I would agree with what you said earlier. The cartoon soundtrack is better because I think overall there's just better performers across the board. Here it's kind of Naomi Scott doing the heavy lifting, and everyone else kind of like along for the ride for the most part. Not that anyone think is actively bad. Right. They're just not up to, I think, the level that a lot of these songs have been already performed at, and people such as yourself have probably heard those songs thousands of times, and when you hear this, you're just like, well, it just kind of feels like an okay cover at best. Like, it's not novel, which I think is why I think Speechless different. Works better because it's a new song, because it's Naomi Scott, like just fucking going for it. Although I agree about its integration and stuff, but like Prince Ali, super Prince fucking Ali catchy.
Felt like A Whole New World in this movie. A Whole New World feels like an okay cover at best, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but Prince Ali felt different enough. I don't know why it felt different. I don't know how they changed it, but it felt like maybe the tempo was slower.
I think there's a different energy to it for sure.
Right. It felt different enough to where it was a different experience. You know what I mean? So it's kind of my hot take on the soundtrack there. If it's different enough to where it's a new experience, it's totally okay. If you try to ride on the coattails of the movie before you need to really step up your game. Because then the movie's incredible, or the cartoon's got an incredible soundtrack. But that's what I got.
Cartoon totally fucking holds up. By the way, if anyone has the ability to watch it, I don't even know how much the Blu-ray goes for these days, but I'm sure it'll be up on Disney Plus in November. So if you can hold out that long, that's certainly an idea. So there you have it. That's Aladdin. Well, have you been up to some things lately?
I've been up to a great many things.
A great many things. All right. Well, do tell.
What do we got? This Is Us. Watch a couple episodes of that. Still really good.
Classic.
Still generally
got to keep up on the watch schedule with that one. Sure.
Makes me teary. I was caught up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think I am now behind maybe one or two episodes.
Behind by one or two.
Yeah.
I think it skipped the most recent Friday, so you might only be one behind depending on where you stopped watching. Or maybe you're not behind at all. I'm not sure.
Well, that's cool. I didn't know that. But yeah, that's totally okay.
Or maybe it's this Friday. There's a Friday that is being skipped.
I gotcha.
I think it was last Friday. I don't fucking know. Anyway,
it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's pretty okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Nothing super awesome yet. You know what I mean? But it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm happy to be watching it when I watch it.
As long as it's entertaining, I'm sure it'll build to a head at some point.
I'm watching Good Omens. I think I'm just about done with that. I don't know if they're going to do a season 2 or not, but they make it sound
Was it not the whole book?
Yeah, no, I feel like it's going to be the whole book.
Well, is it how there's only 6, right? In the series?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, how many have you watched?
I think I'm on the last episode. Just based off where the book's at. I haven't looked at the episode counter. I haven't looked at the episode.
I got you.
So
I know you read the book, so I kind of figured you'd have a sense of whether it's covering the whole book. That's kind of
and it is the only reason I said that is because it denotes as season 1. It doesn't denote as like a mini series or anything else. It says
I got you.
Episode.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty short and everything too, though. So I kind of
I don't know where they would go.
It's a short book too. Not like really short, but only a few hundred pages type thing. So
this is a really good book. I really enjoyed the book a whole lot. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely a fun book. And the show's pretty good too. I think that they deviated here and expanded in other places and stuff. But I think largely they're hitting all the notes. And they're hitting them fairly well. They made some unique. It's almost like a Doctor Who production. I feel like.
Well, is it BBC?
I don't know. I'm not 100%. I think you might be. Since you say that, I
feel like maybe the production values just might have something in common because of that. But I might just be making that up. It feels like even from the trailer, it felt like a BBC type thing, like a Doctor Who type thing,
which is totally cool. It's a stylistic choice and everything else. It's fine. I mean, I really like Tenet. I think he's pretty great. And I like the other guy too. The guy playing Aziraphale,
Michael Sheen.
Yeah, Michael Sheen's pretty great. So those two people are awesome. And they're definitely, they definitely got a whole lot more focus than some of the other characters. I think, at least from the audiobook and recalling the audiobook, I think a lot of people got more time in the book.
Gotcha. Okay.
But those guys, you're paying those guys a lot more money to be on the show, I think. So give them some screen time.
Sure.
Anyways, so that's that. I think I'm on the last episode of that. I recommend that, especially if you've read the book. I think it's a fun watch. What else? I want to say that might be it. That might be all I've been up to, I think. Watching those things. Yeah, I think that might be it. I'm going to say that's it.
All right.
So I've been watching stuff, yeah.
Well, I'm going to take this opportunity to use my catching up side of things to introduce a somewhat new segment to the show.
Ooh.
Not a regular segment, I wouldn't expect, but...
I'm going to cut you off real quick. Swamp Thing. I watched the pilot of Swamp Thing.
Oh, Swamp Thing. Yeah.
That was cool.
That's right.
I like that.
Might have asked me about certain login information. The show's gotten really good reviews, so...
Yeah, no, I'm all about it. Seems pretty fucking cool. Anyways, I digress. That's
all right. Well, so I'm gonna do something a little bit new. It's called the Listener's Corner, and I would like to take this opportunity to respond on air to a few emails that we've gotten in our watch review repeat at gmail.com account. So if you have thoughts that you'd like us to talk about on air, send us your thoughts that away. So these thoughts may be coming from people that share my last name, but that's quite all right. I appreciate people emailing in regardless. So first I wanted to talk about something that I can personally talk on as well. So my brother Dalton, who was a previous guest on this podcast a little ways back for Ant-Man and the Wasp, anyone that has been listening to us since then would recognize him from that show. He says the subject of the email is called Booksmart, and the body of the message says, "See it!" exclamation point. The man speaks the truth. I have seen Booksmart. Fucking awesome. One of my favorites I think I've seen this year.
Shop smart, shop book smart. Is that what you're saying?
Sort of, something like that. So this is the directorial debut of Olivia Wilde. Yes, that Olivia Wilde. Wild Bay. I'm just spitballing. You can come up with your own thing. So it's something I saw a trailer for a while back, which I enjoyed quite a bit, and it got really good reviews, really excellent reviews. Stars Caitlin Dever, Beanie Feldstein. They're two high school students on the cusp of graduation who are like straight A students, and basically they kind of realize that a bunch of fuck-ups are doing well in school too, and they're like, shit, have we wasted our 4 years here being, like too book smart for our own good? And so they seek out a night of debauchery and try to cram in all the partying that they can into one single night. It's really great. A lot of heart to it, and a lot of fucking style to it, and something that you wouldn't expect to have a lot of style to it. The soundtrack in particular is really amazing. I was a big fan. So I fully agree with. Yeah, and I think the humor was great. It's got kind of sometimes like just kind of like a weird style of humor, which I really enjoyed. But I laughed the whole way through it. I thought that where it tried to hit hard, it successfully did so. It's typical kind of coming of age. Like, it's not exactly a new take on the genre or anything like that, but it's an exceptionally well done version of that. So I would definitely recommend it. I know it didn't do all that well box office wise, but so I would say support it any way you can, if you can. Yeah, so Olivia Wilde, director Bay, I think is maybe what we'll go with. Does that sound good? Does that sound like the way to go?
That
Director
like a Director Bay picture right there. Do you see that picture?
I seen it. So yeah, recommend that. And then I would also like to check in the listener's corner with Bruce Brown, who has sent many an email, and he's been consuming lots of content lately, apparently. So he finished season 3 of The Expanse over on Amazon Prime and said it's an awesome show. Yes. So he's now officially ahead of me, still up to date with you. If season 3 is anything like season 1 and 2, I think he's correct. He watched Avengers, said it was really, really good. A few things he didn't care for, but overall excellent. And I would say that there was probably less things that I didn't care for, but I would agree overall excellent. I think is a pretty good summary of things. He reiterated The Expanse is awesome. What else? CW. He's
oh no.
He's the absolute madman. Has I think finished all of the CW shows through the current iterations. I think all the seasons just wrapped up. So he's well ahead of you, and actually well ahead of me too at this point. I don't know why he does it to himself, because I feel like every time I talk to him, he's just like, this all sucks so bad.
So he says Arrow and Flash are over, thank God. Watching the painful Legends finale. He says Arrow started out okay and then took a dive into quote unquote Shitsville. Flash kind of sucked all season with lame ass bad guys. Legends is ridiculous and a notch below last season, which was also ridiculous. Which all sounds about right. As someone that has not watched any of the fucking newest seasons,
it's nice
that totally all sounds about right. He didn't say anything about Supergirl, so I don't know if he gave up on Supergirl or what's the case there. He's watched a show which apparently season 5 came out of, a show by the name of Bosch. Something you should be intimately familiar with by this time, right?
I thought I was going to have a monologue of it.
It's not too late. It's not too late. So season 5's up there. He says it's okay. He liked the other seasons better, but he thinks it'll come together. I think he was still in progress as of sending that. And then one more email for you. There's a lot. He's talking about Luther. And
new season?
Lo and behold, the new season is now available on BBC America. So I don't know if the whole season's up. I think the first episode was up, but he went to a play. I think he saw King Lear in New York City, in which Ruth Wilson, Alice Morgan herself, was playing a role, or dual roles, I think, from what I understand, in that play. So he got a chance to. I don't know what the extent of their conversation was, but he might have been chatting up Ruth Wilson. So that's pretty cool.
Your mom met Justin Timberlake.
My mom met Justin Timberlake, aka Pedro Pascal, who was also in this same production.
Incredible. That was
got
an incredible
got a selfie with him. Got a selfie with JT slash PP. Maybe not. Maybe not that. Maybe not in those initials. What's his middle name? We'll put the middle name in there. Just sounds way too racy. I'm not a big fan of that.
Your mom met PP.
So that's the listener's corner. I wanted to catch up on those things because I hadn't had a chance to respond by the typey types. So I figured maybe they'd appreciate it if I did it on the Mikey mic. So there you go. Check out those things because I agree with everything that's been said. The CWverse I can't necessarily agree with, but it's almost certainly right. I mean, come on. So there you have it. On my end, outside of the listener's corner and Colton's corner, if you will, a little alliteration for you, I finished season 1 of Young Justice.
Oh.
And it continues to be incredible. The way it all came together at the end was really fucking great. The character work on it is it's so good. It's so good. I really cannot gush about it enough. It's one of the best animated things I've seen in a long time, which admittedly I don't watch that much animated stuff. Not as much as I probably would like to anyway. So maybe my limited exposure is getting me a little overhyped about things, but I have heard people say similar things online. I feel like it's really just legitimately really great. What I did find out, something that surprised me, but didn't surprise me once I learned it, was that I think one of the showrunners on this, or the show creators on this, also previously worked on the Spectacular Spider-Man, which was a animated show that I was watching a while back, talked about on the podcast a while back, and I felt very similarly about that one. And having known that, I can see kind of the stylistic similarities between the two. Right. And I think anyone familiar with Spectacular Spider-Man should take that as a compliment, because that was a really, really great iteration of the Spider-Man cartoon. Spider-Man's character, obviously, it's had many cartoons. Same thing with a lot of, like Justice League, Superman, Batman, like all of these characters have had a lot of iterations and cartoons and stuff like that. For Young Justice, there's a lot of, characters that usually don't get the limelight, getting the limelight, but there's still a good amount of the Justice League in it. Batman, Superman, everyone. The Justice League has like 30 members in it. It's just absurd. It's just absurd, but it's great. So that's kind of, I think that's kind of what I have. It's really good. Really good. Highly recommended. It's on the DC Universe streaming service, which now we're both getting a little bit of value out of it, so that's cool.
Yeah.
And I think season 2 has been up for a while. It got canceled after season 2 and then revived for season 3. So season 3, I think like part 1 went up late last year, if I'm not mistaken, and then the back half of that season is coming out in like a month's time. So I think timing-wise, I should be,
sitting pretty to be able to kind of just roll right from all the old stuff into the new stuff and get caught up with it. So that's kind of my game plan. But there's a lot of stuff I want to watch. Game of Thrones, obviously. I would like to watch Good Omens. I know it's only 6, so I feel like that makes it a little bit easier to get into, a little bit more digestible. So that's something I like to watch, and just other stuff on the DC stuff, Titans, Doom Patrol, stuff like that. Swamp Thing. Would like to watch Swamp Thing.
You'd like Swamp Thing. It's got some Resident Evil vibes. It's pretty great.
Resident Evil.
Yeah, it's there's one part in there. It's like, it's totally RE.
Is there a point where like the title card comes up and then it's the guy Swamp Thing?
No. That'd be fucking cool though.
DC's that would be kind of cool.
Swamp Thing.
That would be fun. That would be fun. Yeah. Anyway, so that's it. I will say thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please spread the word. If you would be so kind as to support us on Patreon, that would be swell. Very cool of you. Why you would want to do that? That's a good question that you've asked, that no one's asked, but I'm answering for you anyway. Well, we give you access to timed exclusive bonus episodes, and we give you early access to all of our regular episodes. So as of now, as I talked about fairly early on, Season 6 Game of Thrones episode is up there on Patreon at the moment as a Patreon timed exclusive. And that one might be the best. Andrew's been on and off sending me pictures of people throughout this episode, sometimes with labels. So Director Bay, we got the Olivia Wilde established. He sent me a picture of Ruth Wilson, and he has officially dubbed her Cray Bay, which I think is actually it might be your finest work, good sir. It might be your finest. Cray Bay. So anyway, Game of Thrones Season 6. If you're so inclined, head to our website, watchreviewrepeat.com. Click the something. I don't know what you do. I know what you do. Click the premium button in the top left, and then click the Become a Patron button. That's what you do. $2 a month gets you access, again, to those bonus episodes, regular episodes. It's all there. It's all great. It's all good content. We appreciate anyone that wants to support us. No pressure if you have no interest in that whatsoever. After the way I just handled that plug, I don't blame anyone at this point. So if you want to follow us on Twitter, just head to our Twitter at WRRPod. You can like us on Facebook at Watch Review Repeat. Again, if you want to be a part of the Listener's Corner, man, that'd be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. You could send questions, comments, suggestions, anything you like to our Gmail account, watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you guys. I think Andrew, even though he's busy over there doing other things, I think he agrees. Intro and outro track, Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. Next episode is going to be on Gojira, a.k.a. Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Playing catch up on the May releases. I have sort of seen it. I intend to see it again to get a little bit more of a well-rounded viewpoint prior to recording on it. I know Andrew has seen the Gojira.
I have seen it.
And we're going to have thoughts on it, just like we did on this one. So stay tuned for our coverage of that. In the near future, got more Game of Thrones goodies heading your way. Dark Phoenix. Got all sorts of... We've got good things on sale, stranger. That's what's happening.
All right.
Well, until then, we will say something to people.
Take care now. Bye-bye then.
Laters on the Menche.